Welcome to Life Plus Plus, where we aim to add more value to life by sharing knowledge, life lessons, and combined experiences from our friends, colleagues, and associates. In each episode, we'll be talking about real life issues and things that are important to you. So if there's anything you want us to discuss, leave them in the comments section below or email us at lifepluspplus@thethrowdown.com. Throwdown is THATHROWDOWN. This episode is sponsored by Kososhi Clothing. Welcome to episode 11. I am Lambo the Virus. And with me today, this guy, he's not short of inspiration. This is one guy who's got so much tenacity, so much determination and passion for the things he's done. I'm so happy to have Gok, a.k.a. Grizzly Vegan. How you doing, bro?
Oh, man, it's an absolute honor to be here, bro.
Nice.
Like, you know, I see what you're doing, I see the people you're talking to, and it's just, you know, when you sent me the message, I was like, wow, it's an honor.
Nice.
You know, but I'm good, man.
Nice one, man.
Good.
Nice one. Dude, man, you have to let people know, because obviously people don't know you from way back when you were a big boy to what you are now. Seriously, how was the whole journey for you? Explain to people, just let people know your journey from where you were before physically to where you are now.
Put it this way, I've been a big guy my whole life, man. You know, I didn't know any different.
Yeah.
Big kid, big teenager, big adult. Like, didn't know any other. That's all I knew myself as. But, you know, when you're young, as long as you're doing some kind of recreational activity, some kind of sport, you can get away with it a little bit. And as I got older, the medical problems started coming. You know, whether it be back pain, whether it be like, you know, just internal stuff, just digestive stuff, you know, you name it, headaches, bad sleep, snoring, like the list goes on.
Yeah.
And I think we live in a day and age where the first thing to do is turn to a GP or turn to a pharmacy or turn to online, but no one really tells you to turn to what the hell you're putting in your mouth as fuel.
Yep, true that.
So ended up at my biggest, 122 kilos, 19.3 stone. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I was a 46 waist.
Shit. Wow.
Yeah. You know how you're saying wow? Trust me, I still say wow. There's parts of me that still can't, because I'm now far enough on into my current shell.
Yeah.
To.
It seems like a lifetime.
It's a bit of a blur.
Wow.
And funnily enough, your first guest on Life Plus Plus.
Kings, a.k.a. music muscle.
Music, like, you know, he's more than a friend. He's my older brother.
Yes.
If you ask him, he'll just say he's my brother.
Kings is
you know what I mean?
Dope, man.
Kings has done enough. There's blessings.
Yeah. Shout out to Kings, man. Shout out to Kings. Yeah.
But I think I just got a new job, corporate job. So, you know, out of uni, got the corporate job, all excited, and I rocked up and I signed up to the gym because I was still lifting weights. I was doing no cardio, nothing. I was just big boy, 1 rep max, just trying to see how much I can lift and try and put the bench on my rolls somewhere. Do you know what I mean? It was not a good picture, but I survived. And I think at the end of my first week, I signed up to the gym near work, and I go straight downstairs, go to the weights area in Colindale. Go straight to the weights area. And as I was going towards the weights area, I saw Kingsley in like the little Pilates corner. Do you know what I mean? Like area that man them don't train. Man them that big don't train in there. Like, you don't get big in that area. Do you know what I'm saying? I see my man there and I thought maybe he's just warming up. Bro, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning, you know. And I had no idea he was already there since 4:30.
Kings.
Like, I'd start my workout, he'd be halfway through. And still outwork every other fucker in that gym.
Yep, true that.
And I see him once, I see him twice. And I see him just in that zone, in that area. And one day I walked up to him at work, I said, bro, how you going, man? I said, listen, how old are you? At the time he was 40... 42, 41, 42. And I said, what, you got kids? He goes, yeah, bruv, I got kids. I said, so let me get this straight. I said, you're 42 and you have kids and you have a full-time job and you look like that?
I know.
What? I said, bro, listen, my cards are straight on the table. I said, you train me, I won't say a fucking word.
Wow.
I said, you do whatever the fuck you think I need to do.
Wow.
And just do it. And I said, like, take it.
Yeah.
I won't complain. I won't moan. I won't skip anything. I won't do nada. And he goes, all right, cool, come tomorrow. A year later, I found out he wasn't expecting me to come to that gym the next day. I went to the gym the next day, bro. There was 2 girls from work at the gym.
Oh, God.
I'm not going to tell you how the workout went. All I'm going to say is when them girls got back to work, they said, we feel so bad for Gokhan. He looked like he was crying.
Oh, my
He
goodness.
screamed. He nearly threw up and he passed out, kind of thing.
Wow.
And Kingsley showed no remorse.
I know.
And he
I told Kings, I said I've been the victim.
bro, I went from victim
Yeah.
to sculpture. You know, he
Wow.
was just like the Nigerian Van Gogh. He just went
Just
crazy on man, carved
Yeah.
whatever vision he had.
Yeah.
And the day, you know, at the work on that day at work, he goes to me, listen, cool, it was nice, but you know, I'm there again tomorrow morning. I said, all right, no worries. He's thinking, no way he's coming after that one. But I was there day in, day out for 14 months, and I dropped from 142 to 82 kilos.
Oh, my goodness.
I lost 40 kilos on the dot. And I didn't weigh myself for 10 months, so I didn't weigh myself for a year.
40 kilos.
40 kilos, man. I birthed a 10-year-old.
Jeez. That is impressive, man. That's beyond impressive.
I didn't see it like that, though. For a very long time, I didn't see it like that. I did not see it like that. You know, for me, it was the constant hunger.
Yeah.
Because the way you train with him is very different. And I don't recommend it to everyone.
Yeah.
It won't work for
everyone. Yeah.
It will not work for everyone.
Yeah.
Not because I'm,
Yeah.
and it didn't work for me because I'm some hard ass mofo or, you know, I'm this, I'm that.
Yeah.
No, it worked for me because I'd had enough. You know, only 6 months before starting that job, only 5 months before that job, I was in hospital intensive care for 3 weeks. Nearly lost my life.
Wow.
Because I was so unhealthy. I was a moving target for any serious illness.
Wow.
So for me, I didn't put up with that level of training because I'm some dark human being. Because it gets dark. You know, you face your demons.
Yeah, you have to.
You seriously go to a dark place and learn how to generate power from the darkness, which enables you to stay so happy in the light because, you know, you can tap in and out of that zone.
Wow.
And it fuels you for everything else you do in life.
That's very true.
Everything
That's
else.
very true, yeah.
You know, that taught me and has brought me to where I am today in life.
Wow. So it's been more, not more, but it's been a mixture of physicality and you trying to strengthen yourself mentally as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I knew there was a me that I wanted to create, but I had to fight the me I had become, you know, at 22. You're pretty much set in your ways at 22.
Yeah, of course.
You know, whether you have loads of life experience or not, doesn't matter whether you're 22 or 40. The only difference between them two, in my eyes, is the experience. The ways are still the same.
That's very true, yeah.
So I was set. And I'd just come out of uni. That fueled the obesity. That fueled the bad health. You know, because you thought it was fun to have an 18-inch pizza on your own. Bro, people that have met me now, like when I looking at this, they don't believe me. I have to show them pictures and videos.
I was about to say that for the people watching now, I'll do a before and after picture. Seriously, I have to so they can get a picture of it. So no, seriously, because only then will it actually sink in.
Yeah.
The enormity of what you're saying is phenomenal, man, and it's very inspirational.
Appreciate that.
Seriously, even going up to, I want you to say it, to becoming a professional athlete
Yeah.
That's scary, man.
Yeah.
How did you get into it?
Well, I went to uni and I started off in one course because I liked the science, and then I left that one and I went down a sports science route, and I fell in love with it. I didn't really kind of see the personal trainer aspect as a thing at the time. Throughout my whole life, I just had this urge to make a difference in other people's life, you know, for the better.
Yeah.
And unless you've got so many zeros in your bank account that you can just dish out money to people that need it, you have to get down and dirty. You have to actually get involved. And I don't mean down and dirty in a bad way. I mean straight up, get your hands in.
Yeah.
It's not a balance transfer. It's not turn up to a nice charity. It's actually, what can you do different to people's lives as one individual? You know, I turned vegan 5 years ago purely because I wanted to make a difference on, first and foremost, my life. But then as I progressed into it, I realized I was making a difference to other sentient beings' lives, the planets, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure we'll touch on that later and have a lovely debate. Because that's what tends to happen.
I know.
In a beautiful way. And I thought to myself, well, what can I do? And once I'd lost the weight, I started attracting people that were also in a very dark place, that were also overweight or had health issues and they wanted to overcome them. And I started helping people. Didn't charge people a penny. I wasn't a personal trainer. I wasn't a qualified professional. And if I start charging people money, how dare I do that to the qualified professionals? That's disrespectful. I mean, yes, it shows hunger, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you want to do something, you got to do it properly
Of
because
course.
everybody else has.
Yeah.
And I started helping people. And although I was in a corporate job, you know, in a suit and tie, driving 50, 60,000 pound cars, not in the first year. After probation.
Just to be clear.
After probation. So if any of you that saw me in a little two-seater, that's why.
That's funny.
But for me, I was leaving work every day. It got to a point at like the 2-year point, I was leaving work every day, feeling zero fulfillment. I got more fulfillment when I went home and I had an hour and a half to chill on Netflix initially. I found more fulfillment in that. And then we started just filming interviews, just random interviews. Me and Kingsley would film random interviews of people we thought who were inspirational in the gym. And my fulfillment after work turned into editing their videos. Then my fulfillment became spreading my knowledge through social media and sharing my experience and aspiring to inspire as many people as I can. So I kept it going in circles, but only one thing made sense. That this 9 to 5 that was putting decent money in my bank account and putting a nice suede seat under my arse weren't actually giving me any fulfillment. So the next choice for me was, well, okay, what else can I do? I've been in the events industry as doing certain various management roles for years, but that's seasonal. I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. I don't want to travel all year round. I didn't want to do that. You know, going from event to event to event to event and not sharing any time with my partner, not sharing any time with my family. I thought, nah, that's not for me. So I thought, I'm helping people. What if I could make money from this? And if I give it all my focus, then I can affect more people. And I signed up, you know, at work, literally during break. Walked out, signed up to a personal trainer course, and just started doing the course.
Wow.
Lunchtimes at work, I'd be upstairs on my laptop trying to finish off assignments. After work, I'd be at home on the laptop finishing off assignments, doing my videos, doing this, doing that. And then I started picking up clients part-time. And the way that made me feel, it was probably taking up total amount of clients I had, like part-time at the time, 6. That's 6 hours. Wow. That 6 hours giving me more fulfillment than my 40-hour work week. And I saved up and I took the leap, beginning of 2019.
I remember you when you were telling me that you were about to.
I was about to, and straight hands up, my partner, Kings, and maybe a handful of other people had faith. So what I did was I got rid of everybody else. And I just kept feeding off the ones that had faith.
Wow.
Because then you can't get impacted by the negative.
Yeah,
the only
is
negative
so
left
true.
is your mind.
That is so true. That is so true.
Because all the people around you
Yeah.
is saying exactly what your heart's saying. So now your mind is outnumbered. Because there's no fun vampires around. There's no soul suckers around. There's no people who wish they could do stuff, so they're just gonna knock you down around.
Yeah.
None of that. It's people like us. We used to meet up, and we just sit there and everyone just talk and inspire each other.
Yeah,
Whatever small or major dream you have, we used to sit there and talk like it was already done.
Yep. True that. Yes.
So when you surround yourself with people like that,
Yeah.
that's the only influence you're gonna have.
That is so true. That is so profound as well. And I'm happy that you're sharing it. And we've got a platform like this where we can start to desensitize people off of the negativity that they're now so comfortable with.
100%.
It is so.
And I think the comfort comes from not even realizing. You know, I'm quite harsh in my analogies to the modern day average humans' behavior. And I know from my perspective it's quite harsh, but I see the majority of people just spending their lives with a big ass fish hook dangling in front of their faces.
Yeah.
You know, people get into these corporate lives, falling in love with the idea that you may one day become CEO, or you may one day become the best salesperson, or you may one day become this manager or that manager. You spend most of your life chasing it.
True.
When you get to it, you realize whatever company it is, they don't give a damn about your ass,
No, they don't.
your number. So you've just spent all these years
Only
chasing
to
that
become
fish
a
hook
statistic. That is crazy.
to become a number.
That is crazy.
And by the time you realize that you got a mortgage, you got 2 to 4 kids, you got 2 cars on finance,
And it's
you
harder
got
to
4
jump
credit
out.
cards. Let me
Wow.
see you jump out that ship now.
Oh my Lord.
No chance. You're in the middle of the ocean on a boat that's sinking. So you wait for your pension and then sit on your ass.
That is so deep. And it's so dark when you think of it like that. It is, wow.
Hence why I said to you earlier before we started filming, the darker and scarier that leap,
Yeah.
the better it is. Because the further down you can dig, when you're up at the top, it's the spectrum increases. The top is so much more worth it to realize you did it on your own. You didn't do it on no salary.
Yeah.
You didn't do it on no running around making teas and coffees for people, or being disrespected by a guy that wouldn't dare talk to you like that if he saw you outside the office.
I know what you're talking about.
So
It's that feeling of self-fulfillment.
exactly.
It's crazy.
So when people do stuff like this, when people do stuff like what I'm doing, what people stuff like do, what my brother, the very close friend Damien's doing,
Yeah.
what Kingsley's doing,
Yeah.
what all these people are doing outside of their normal lives that the rest of the world sees, I'm there,
Word.
110%,
Yeah.
because I know what it's like.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to ask you, because obviously it would have been a very, very, very tough journey for you when you were going through the reconstruction.
Yep.
How were you able to soldier on when times really got dark? How were you able to soldier on? Apart from you've mentioned that the medical side of it.
Yeah.
Well, apart from that,
For me, the fight was more mental than physical. The physical you can deal with. It's the mental is uncharted territory. You break an arm, you know what you need to do. You break an old habit in there, it's uncharted territory. You have no flipping idea what you're going to do.
Man.
First and foremost, my partner, who has been with me from when I was a big boy, when I had nothing, so she is probably the number one person who has so much utter faith in me, probably more than I do.
Wow.
So it doesn't matter how dark and hard it got,
Yeah.
I always knew I had her to turn to. And she'd straight back up.
Wow.
Let's go. Because, you know, from day dot,
That is so.
she don't
that is
sugarcoat
so
nothing.
Yeah.
She'll check me
You
hard.
need people like that, man.
And I've told her from day one, check me hard. You know, and that's the only people I surround myself with now, because I've realized if I don't get checked hard, I let my ego slip up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I keep myself around
then
brothers that are just
people,
oh, we did. Come on.
Yeah.
Can't be saying things like that. You
Set
can't be
you
doing
back in
things like
line.
that.
Yeah.
So, and what that does is that then starts to form the habit of an internal, you know, set back onto the path, an internal switch.
Realignment.
Yeah.
Yep.
For me, it was first and foremost her, and besides the whole medical and I just having the overall circle, it was finding myself spiritually. Yeah, man. Meditation, research into, you know, Buddhism, Taoism, some psychedelics. Yeah, man, that's when the more I connected with myself and ancient traditions and no gods, no books, an internal search. They're probably, I'd say, my top two. My partner and that side of my life.
Wow.
I did a lot of inner searching, shut the world out big time for a very long time.
Wow. So where and when did veganism come in?
Veganism came to me when I was halfway through university. I had a very, very, very good friend of mine called George. Bless up. He's traveling the world right now. It's crazy. But he was a vegetarian. And believe it or not, as much as I'm a vegan now, the reason why I try to spread veganism through my social media in a positive sense, and I don't argue with anyone, I don't yap veganism in people, you know, I'm very chill about it. It's purely because I was an ignorant and arrogant and rude ass meat eater when I was a meat eater. If you was a vegetarian, bruh, better stay clear of me. I'd rip into you. I'd make you eat meat, man. That was that bad. Bro. So when I went vegan, I'd heard every joke because they left my mouth once upon a time. So, but I said to him, you know what, bro? I said, you're my boy, man. I said, I respect a lot of your views. So I said, you got an hour. We lit one up. I said, you got an hour, man. I said, just preach. I said, preach. Tell me why we go
Sell it to me.
Sell it to me. And he turned around and went to me, nah, bruh, scrap veggie. He goes, let's just both go vegan. I said, hold on. I said, this took me years to get my head around veggie. You're telling me there's another thing now? He goes, yeah, this is no cheese and no dairy. I said, bruv, I'm Turkish. I can't leave cheese. I said, we'll put cheese on anything. I said, we'll put cheese on fruit. I said, you ever know another nation to put cheese on fruit?
Oh, man.
Who does that?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And he turned around and he spoke to me and he told me a little bit about it. And he didn't tell me about, and I think this is why it's very important for people to know how you tick. And for people to know you very well and you to have trust in them, to bring your barriers down, to allow them to know you very well. Because he didn't come to me with the animal abuse. He didn't come to me with the environment. He came to me with straight medical. Because he knew my first subject of choice in university was biomedical science. If my chemistry grades were good enough, I would have gone and studied medicine. Would I have survived? No. But I would have gone and studied.
Given it a good shot, though.
I would have given it a good shot, man. I would have tried first year at least. And you know, I did the research, man. 3 weeks straight. I was in a library researching, reading. And what would happen is I'd research for a whole day and sit at home and go, how the fudge have I never heard about any of this stuff? Like, this should be public.
Wow.
This should be public. How are we all not raging about this? This makes no sense. You know, when you look at osteoporosis, and how it links to dairy consumption, you know, the science and the statistics don't lie. There is no science to back the protein myth. There is no science to back the health myth of eating meat. There isn't.
Yeah.
There isn't. It's such small, silly little research studies that the media and industries have blown up.
Yeah.
That you actually,
because of the cheese, isn't
exactly, you actually have no tangible science
it? Yeah.
to back your facts. Whereas most of the stuff that we now see is, you know, plain sight, but it's just not shown to us or put in front of us as much as we would want it to. You know, we live in a day and age, we only see what we care about. Instagram works so you see what you care about.
Yeah.
Facebook works so you see who you care about. Twitter works because you just want to hear people talk, but only because you like them. So many people don't read the newspapers. So many people don't watch the news.
Too many people.
So you're only really exposed to what you give a damn about in this day and age.
Yeah.
So it's very, very easy for you to not see certain things.
That's a psychological term for that. It's inattentional blindness.
Well, there we go. That's the smart way of saying what I just said. Respect for that. I'm going to use that. I'm going to take note of that. And it's one of those things where in 2015, the UK updated its healthy eating guide. And cheese and dairy products have been put in a tiny little corner, saying these should be consumed in very small amounts.
You're joking.
Probably not the exact wording for it, but that's pretty much what it gets to. 2015, that's 4 years ago.
Wow. I didn't know about that.
You see what I mean? Canada has officially took dairy out of their healthy eating chart. See how I don't really bang on about meat? My issue is dairy, because that is one of the most toxic, and at the same time, in my eyes, stupid thing you can put in your body. That's another animal's breast milk.
When you put it that way, man.
You see? Do you see what I mean? So, but yeah. And I did my research in 3 weeks, overnight. I'll never forget it. I had a student fridge. I had 8 chicken breasts in the freezer. I had a pint of milk, and I had a block of cheddar. That's the only animal products I had left in the fridge. And I literally picked them all up, and I went to my neighbor's door, and I said, yo, you want these? And he goes, yeah, man. Student to student, innit? They won't question it. I said, yeah, bro, I'll take it. Haven't looked back since.
Wow.
And to top that cake off for you, I haven't had the common cold in 4.5 years. I haven't took a paracetamol in 4.5 years. I haven't been to the GP in 4.5 years. I went vegan 5 years ago. In 4.5 years, every single one of my existing medical conditions have now disappeared. I don't have a single condition. I have perfect sight, perfect hearing, everything.
Shit. How does one take the leap? Do you just go cold turkey if you want to stop it?
Again, I think it comes back to the aspect of training. You know, what that's taught me is one method isn't going to work for everyone. And that's now scientifically proven as well. One method doesn't work. So I went cold turkey. I have slipped up. Of course you have. I went cold turkey. Cold turkey works for me. However, what I advise most people is start cutting things out bit by bit. You know, you can attempt the cold turkey. If it doesn't work, don't get disheartened. It's just like anything else in life. You're trying to break an old habit. Don't get disheartened by it. Take it in steps. If you're finding it hard, take it in steps. You know, just give yourself a date, give yourself a start date, so you're mentally preparing. It's like looking forward to a holiday, looking forward to Christmas. You know, when you have a date, you can make a plan. And when you have a date, by constantly thinking about this date on a daily basis, your mind becomes so hypersensitive to that date. It becomes all you can think about. You sit at work, look at eye pops on the calendar. You go, oh, I got 3 weeks. Oh, I got 2 weeks. You start telling people. You start doing your research. You're prepping. It's like you're about to tackle something huge. Yeah. If you're 20, you're about to give up 20 years of what you thought was right. Shit. If you're 30, it's harder. If you're 40, it's harder. It doesn't get easier. And
Dude, I love cheese, man.
bro, so do I. So do I. But I promise you, just throw veganism out the window, throw everything out the window. Just do me one favor. Cut out dairy for 4 weeks. See how your body reacts in those 4 weeks, because funny stuff is going to start happening to you. And then go find yourself your favorite cheese or a gallon of milk and drink it. And tell me how your stomach feels 15 minutes after you've had that. It's not right. We build an immune system that can deal with it. And those of us who are lactose intolerant, the normal ones, those of us who are lactose intolerant are the people who have not been able to build a tolerance to it. In my eyes, they haven't been able to. You know, like it hit me the other day, yeah? See babies, when they're on breast milk, they very rarely kind of like throw up. The moment you put them on like normal milk or these formulas and this and that, they just be throwing up all the time. I don't even want to eat it. But they'll happily drink mother's milk all day. But why is it? It's always a bit of a task to get them to eat all of that powdery stuff, all of them fruit jellies. That's life that's going to grow into this, and you're giving it fruit jelly. It's not real food. Or you're giving it another animal's processed breast milk. Do you see what I mean?
When you put it that way, man, dude, you're trying to put me off this thing.
So my fight is with dairy. My fight is with dairy. Because in my eyes, if you're ignorant enough to not even look at the research, don't listen to any vegan activist, don't listen to me who's like a chilled vegan, but like I'm just trying to show you. My aim for the next year is to bulk and get as big as I can as a vegan in the most natural ways possible. And just to show people it can be done. I'm not trying to prove a point. I'm not trying to spark an argument, or I'm not trying to come across in any arrogant way. I'm trying to show people it is possible.
Yes. And at that point that you were, sorry to cut you, the point where you've actually reached now, it's a good thing to let people know that you actually won a bodybuilding competition. Seriously.
So I entered a transformation category in a bodybuilding and fitness show. And the aim is you have to go through pretty much what they call peak week, which is like, your last week to 10 days before the show. Every bodybuilder, every fitness model, everyone does it. It's what you do to your body to prep your body. My coach asked me to have a bottle of wine the night before the show. That's halfway through, I passed out. Because I was so dehydrated, it hit me hard. But what it does is it dehydrates you even more. So you wake up in the morning, you look at yourself in the mirror, you go, that's not me.
Wow.
And then you eat these certain foods, sugary foods, and then this happens and that. I'm not going to dive into it, but I did everything. I practiced on my posing, I dialed it in, and I had a very, 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 very short prep window. I was pretty lean as it was, because I was just so in love with working out and eating clean. I got my abs. My abs became fairly visible, I'd say a year and a half ago. And I've just kept them. Because I eat clean, I train hard, I do lots of cardio, although that's stopping now because I'm trying to bulk before anyone says anything. I'm aware. So it's one of those things, like, we prepped and you got on stage and you had to do a whole routine. Yeah, I got tanned up, man. I genuinely came on stage as Stormzy puts it, a stiff chocolate. Like this oiled up, muscle mudder, just veins popping out everywhere, and you can't really breathe, and you feel faint. Bro, you feel so faint, man. You're in a basement underneath this stage with a bunch of dudes all in their underwear. Everyone's oiled and tanned and trying to get ready to go on stage. But what's crazy is I got on that stage 2.5 years after I started my weight loss journey. 2.5 to nearly 3 years after I started that weight loss journey. And up until getting on that stage, experiencing the best 4.5 minutes of my life, because you can't see anybody. You just see spotlights.
And that's your moment.
It's your moment. You're on stage on your own. And I pulled my first pose off. And for all I know, it could have been my missus and my coach screaming and cheering for me. To me, it sounded like the whole crowd was going crazy, because you spend all day with the guys of the families, and you're downstairs backstage. So if people like your story or they like you, they come out from backstage to go watch you do your pose and cheer for you. Yeah. And I pulled the first pose off and the crowd went nuts. And then the rest is just a blur. And when I finally won, no word of a lie to you, I won. I came home and I sat on my couch with a vegan Papa John's on my lap, with my medal still around my neck. And I cried.
Oh, wow.
I cried. Like, you know when you cry as a kid? Or when you see some of these guys cry in movies, you're like, bro, come on, man. Like, like, it's coming from... I cried.
Wow.
Because in all that time, it was the first time where I'd actually realized what I'd done. To me, it wasn't just the stage and that day that hit me. It wasn't that medal. It was where I started and my whole journey leading up to that medal. When I won and I left, first person I called was Kingsley. First person I called. For my parents,
he would have been so proud of you, man.
Bro, he was gutted he couldn't come, but before my parents, before anybody, I called him.
Wow.
Because for me, it wasn't the reason why I went up and competed.
Yeah.
It wasn't to get up and just win a show. It was because for some reason I hadn't accepted how far I came, and there were still moments where I looked in the mirror and I still saw the old fat me.
Wow.
And that's the message I'm trying to portray through my social media, through the opportunity to talk on something like this. Honestly, if I can say one thing to everybody who's about to start their weight loss journey or who has already had a weight loss journey, please just take a step back and just congratulate yourself. When nobody's looking, no one has to be there. There doesn't have to be some big pizzazz. Yeah. Just you versus you. Just say well done.
It's so profound, man. It's really impactful hearing something like this from your perspective, because we have this stereotype of someone who goes to become a bodybuilder, and you just feel the essence is vanity behind it. But hearing the story, where you came from to where you are, and how it's actually affected your life, your mentality, going through, dealing with these mountains that you had to overcome. It's crazy. And the whole thing around masculinity, you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
It can be, so I'm not sure if using ambiguous is the right word, but the only reason why I say that is it's open to interpretation in either direction.
Absolutely.
And seeing it from your perspective now takes away the whole, they're doing it because they're vain.
I wanted to be a bodybuilder when I was a teenager, but when I did my research, it wasn't the lifestyle that I could fully commit to. And I'm still not a bodybuilder. I did that, like I said, to prove to myself something. Will I get on stage again? I mean, I'd love to. I think it was incredible, but not once. When I was a teenager, when I watched, when I got to bump into people, or when I saw people, when I heard everyone's story, not once. Even that day when I was on that stage, and I now work in a private gym where we have boys who have competed and boys and men who are still competing, and they are professional athletes. Not once has vanity had anything to do with it.
See that? That is deep, man. And oh wow. This LifePlusPlus platform has, believe it or not, been more of an educational journey for me. Seriously, man. For me, because what I learn from people, I've known for a while. But hearing them talk and sharing stuff on here, there's something about it that just is so real, so tangible. It's something you can, take a lot from and apply to yourself.
Absolutely. I think because what you've, from my perspective, and I said that to you earlier as well, it really comes across on your videos. Once you sit behind this table and you press record, within 5 minutes, just based on us having a chat, that camera disappears.
It does disappear.
And it's just two men, women, whatever, two human beings having a no boundary discussion where there's no judgment. Judgment and egos have been left behind that door. There's none of that in here.
Word.
You as a guest, that's very clear. Because for you to be able to just sit back and just talk your heart, your mind, your passion, your dreams, and why you do what you do, I think that is so important. And I think from going back to what you said when it comes to, the whole masculinity perspective, I think it's not even just we live in a day and age now. I think it's historically, men, I know it's labeled now as toxic masculinity, and when you look into toxic masculinity, you've got patriarchy.
Yeah, that's the euphemism for it. Patriarchy.
Man's man and this and that.
Yeah.
It's, if you said to someone, especially in the cultures we come from, you said to someone, "Yo, I got an idea. I want two guys to have," and I know you've had female guests on here, and I know you will have female guests, but I'm narrowing it completely down to masculinity here and males. If you turn around and said to someone in your culture, in your friend circle 5 years ago, "Yo, you know what? I just want two brothers to sit down, have a chat, no boundaries, all cards, all emotions on the table, and just be their self."
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Bruv, you gay?" I ain't showing my emotions on camera. What do you think this is? See what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I do.
You couldn't say that to your boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'd be like, "What, you think I'm going to let my guard down in front of the next man?" I know you're laughing because you've heard that being said to you. And that's, I never realized that growing up. I realize that now, and I'm doing some stuff for us males as well. There is work being done for other genders, and that's cool. But I feel like what I want to do with my time and my energy is help this gender, because I'm now part of a few men's circles, and I'm now part of a movement to get rid of what is labeled as the toxic masculinity. Because growing up, I never saw emotions from my father. And I know that's probably 9 out of 10 guys.
Yep. I can relate to that.
We are all the offspring of men who tried to behave like men.
Yeah.
But what they didn't realize was they were just creating more men like themselves who had no idea how to deal with their emotions. I found mine in the gym and through spirituality, by being able to tap into those emotions and use them as fuel.
Yeah.
But then how do you sit down and, where do you turn to as a guy, as a male, growing up in this day and age? Where do you turn to? Growing up in the 90s, who could you really turn to? You couldn't turn around and have a proper chat with one of your boys. Letting your emotions out and when we see each other now, we give each other a nice high five and we give each other a nice pat on the back, man. We appreciate each other as brothers.
Yep.
There's
Yeah.
no, you know, when you look at the term, that banter, man them always dropping no homo after a word and all of that kind of stuff. What is the need for that? Like, what is the need for that? Do you know what I mean? Like, what? Because I've said that word now, I've clarified something. But I know enough man that used to say no homo that, 10 years down the line from secondary school, they are fully not no homo. So it means nada. What we don't realize is all we're doing is we're boxing up young males who don't have the tools to express their emotions, who have no idea where to go with their thoughts. You never hear it on the news.
Yeah.
No one ever talks about the male suicide rate. No one ever talks about the male depression rate.
No one does. No one does.
No one ever talks about the male expectation. There's this expectation.
Yeah.
Expectation for what?
That's why I was saying I could relate to you, because in Nigeria, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You're just supposed to be this stoical being who is not affected by anything. You don't have emotions. Anything that comes to you as a result of life, you're just supposed to take it on the chin and just keep moving. And it's a myth, man.
It definitely is, because it's the exact same in my culture as well. Looking at the Mediterranean culture, it's exactly the same. I am in my mid-20s. I've seen my father cry twice, and both due to news of death. So I never saw this brother just turn around and just be like, yo, you know what, son? I'm a little bit upset today. I've had a hard day. I just need a moment. It's more see the ag in his face or allow him to raise his voice to you, because as a young child, and this is not just me telling people about my relationship with my father, this is
Across the board.
This is a good median I'm talking about.
Yeah, man.
There are extremities either way.
Yep.
But you look at the middle line, the baseline, bro, we're all the same.
Yeah. The middle line determines the narrative, isn't
Exactly. And for me, I can see a clear narrative, because as I grew older and I started sharing my emotions, I felt better. And hence why, like in some of these men's circle, for those of you that don't know, a men's circle can be anything. It could be a WhatsApp group chat. It could be an email thread. It could be a private Facebook group. It could be an Instagram, DMs circle. When I'm part of certain men's circle where the only purpose is to inspire each other. Nothing else. Just wish each other blessings and inspiration. And just if someone turns around and they want to challenge you, whether it be physically, whether it be, mentally, just to be a better human being. I'm part of groups. It's just that. Nothing else. Then I'm part of other men's circle groups where we uplift each other. There are certain individuals that, will come on these chats and genuinely turn around and open up and say, you know what? I have nobody else to turn to. Not my closest. A lot of us in these men's circles, I've never physically met. Some say, yeah, God has drawn us together. I say the universe has led us to this. But our behavior on social media and our interactions in life has led us to come together in some of these men's circles. Yeah. And honestly, you now have people turning to people through a device because they are so embarrassed to turn to their closest because of an upbringing and a disgusting culture.
Wow.
And it's everywhere. And then you think to yourself, well, okay, cool. The modern day man is getting better. But you look back, the last 15 generations plus, it's probably an even understatement.
Yeah.
Toxic masculinity, patriarchy, this man's man.
Yeah.
You look back, what has it created? It's created wars. It's created nuclear warfare. It's created assassinations. It's created the darker side of politics. It's created, mass murders. We are sitting on the remains of an empire. There are many people around the world that sit on the remains of an empire. because men wanted to be men. Going from one land to another in the same bloody bubble, killing your own kin.
Kind, yeah.
Your own kind.
It's scary.
You don't see lions bopping around biting other lions.
No. We're the only animals that actually have premeditated harm in our minds.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then when you start to break it down, there are many, many, many psychologists and scientists out there. You know, Dr. Gabor Mate talks about like childhood trauma and how it affects your future life. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about how your thoughts can affect your physical state. You know, there are some incredible human beings out there who have actually done some research.
Yeah, definitely. Even that's within the realm of psychology. It's those are things they call like the psychosomatic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And one thing I used to hear a lot when I used to study biology was our kind of inner animalistic nature, our inner Neanderthal, and you know our primitive nature and all of that kind of stuff. What? How does that make any sense? As human beings, as you know, we evolved, spanned the whole planet according to science, and we're now glued to a phone screen. And you want to talk about animalistic behavior? We're not starting fire with rocks. You come home and turn your heating on. You do it from your phone.
Yeah.
What animalistic behavior?
Yeah.
Why are we still constantly trying to one-up each other when we're so upset and can't talk about it?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
And in my eyes, it all boils down to this so-called disgusting view of men being men.
Where is that coming from? Is it coming from the opposite sex, or is it coming from the extreme left?
I don't think it's coming from the opposite sex. I think the opposite sex has enabled us to see a perspective. Because let's be honest, this so-called great man's man was also the one that oppressed the opposite sex, whether it be in religious books, whether it be in politics, whether it be in America, your average female earns 77 cents or 70 cents an hour, like or minimum, whatever the hell it is, and the male earns $1.
Yeah,
that's the pay gap. Still in 2019.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. However, just to be clear, that is multifarious. If you check it, it spans across different types of jobs that women do.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, so
absolutely, yeah. Obviously, when you put it into perspective, my point is, I think the opposite sex has allowed us, like I said, to get a perspective. It's allowed us to see it from a viewpoint that most of us was blind to, because the only view we saw was our own kinds, and anyone that spoke up, it boils back to what I said 5 minutes ago. Yeah. Are you gay, bruv?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you try to see it from a different perspective, people are like, what do you mean, bruv? Be a man. Yeah. Grow a pair. Yeah. Grow a pair? Bruv, I know some females out there that are savage. They don't have a pair. Some savage-ass women out there.
Yeah. There are lots of them.
And I also know a lot of guys out there who can boss their sport or who can do some pretty manly shit, but they come home and they're great fathers. They come home and they're great partners. And they uplift other men around them.
Yep.
They don't take anything from them. I'm pretty sure you ain't going to tell them to grow a pair.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
And that's why it touches me very deeply because of my father. And it's not because of the relationship really I had with my father, because I'm over that. Like, we have a great relationship now because I've realized where his fears and worries have come from. But what about him and his relationship with his father? You know, there were 5 brothers. Every single one of them had that same toxic relationship with their father, which means their father had it with his father. It just goes on and on and on. And if I can only see it that evident in my lineage, it's very easy for me to just go, well, I'm going to kind of assume
it happens
everywhere.
Yeah, true. And it does, unfortunately.
And the only people that understands us as well as we do is us.
Yeah.
So we are the only one that can help. You know, you've got movements like I Am My Brother's Keeper.
Is that one of the circles you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, there's people on, you know, I'm here for my brothers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it be us when we was posting up like idiots when we was 15, 16 on corners, or us now meeting after work in three-piece suits. Doesn't matter. If you're my brother and you're a man, and bruv, straight up, you need a hug as a human being. It's not no male female thing.
Yeah.
You just want a hug, scientifically proven. Release endorphins.
Of course, we're social animals.
Do you know what I mean? If you just want to sit down and you just want to cry and get shit off your chest, I'm here. And I urge all people out there that have love and respect for their brothers and their circle, do the same. Because sometimes that's all they need.
Yeah.
Before they do some dumb shit.
That is very
true. That's genuinely all we need.
Yeah, man. Agreed. That is so true. That is so true. And it's good to see that, you know, there are guys like you and, you know, people in that circle who are actively or proactively trying to make sure we change this narrative.
100%.
It's fantastic. So in these men's circle that you're part of, what kind of people are in there?
Bro, it's crazy, man. I mean, you know, we've got people who had a hard life, who've had a good life, who've had a upper class, middle class, lower class life. We've got Buddhists in there. We've got you know, Muslims in there. We've got people who had a very, very tough past, but are now doing incredible things with their life and for their surroundings. You know, we got man them in there that sprays bars, like spiritual bars. If you ever hear spiritual bars, you're like, raw. You know, this is like the martial arts for rap. Like Jackie Chan's gone all zen.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? So, you know, we've got yoga instructors in there. You've got myself, who's a vegan personal trainer and nutrition advisor, and you know, and it's incredible the stories that come out, the things we share, and the upliftment. You know, there are certain individuals on there who will literally, like, we throw challenges in there, we throw ideas in there. You know, we throw a debate in there. You know, for example, I asked people a couple of weeks ago about their thoughts on karma. Simple stuff. From simple stuff like that to full-on 7-day, 21-day, 6-month challenges. So and I think that's the beauty of it. More and more of us are allowing more of a connection through genuine, non-materialistic, just straight up conversation.
Yeah. Just sincere
just
conversation.
Sincere from the heart, no boundaries, no ego, no judgment. Nothing. I don't care what your job is. I don't care how much money is in your bank account. I don't care if you live in a little chalet or you live in a palace. Don't care.
Are you happy?
How big is your heart? Are you happy? How big is your heart? That's all I have attempted to, and I am building to give my life to. Be selfless and just enjoy it.
Word.
We can't go anywhere else.
No, we can't. It is, wow, it's been, oh, wow. You definitely have to come back. So in closing now, what would your advice be for someone who's still trying to find their way?
I think the one thing I can say to anybody who's trying to find their way is, before you find anything, find yourself. Find yourself. Just start by taking 10 minutes out every day. Don't speak, don't do anything, don't try and control anything. You know, one thing I've noticed is, for myself, I'm an overthinker. So I try to control my thoughts. Just breathe. 10 minutes every day, get to know yourself. I promise you, 9 out of 10 people don't really and truly know their self. You know a little bit about your characteristics, but you don't really know what goes on in the back of your head because you don't pay attention to it. Just find you. And once you've found you, learn to love you. unconditionally with your good, your bad, your mistakes, your achievements, everything through and through. So when you see your reflection in the mirror, there is zero judgment.
Wow. Wow. That is deep, man. That is deep. That is deep, and it's totally relatable and realistic if only people will allow themselves and apply it.
Yeah,
That is phenomenal.
It's not hard, man. 10 minutes every day.
Oh, man. And on that note, man, see you guys next week. Peace.